Corrales was finished.
He's in big trouble. I think he's done.
Went down the second time, and I just said, boy, it's over with.
Es que era cuestión de darle un solo golpe nomás, como cuando se lo pegara, si se lo pegaba en el hombro, en el cuerpo, no sé si iba a caer. Y por eso entré muy confiado.
Castillo looking to finish this thing up. Corrales, a desperate fighter, and a right hand from Corrales staggers Castillo.
Y bueno, el desenlace todo el mundo lo sabe.
Here comes Corrales. Unbelievable! 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 I just think we witnessed the greatest fight in the history of boxing.
While Castillo lost the fight, he won the rematch 5 months later. And though the rubber match went by the boards when Castillo failed to make weight, the rivalry was already cemented in history.
Castillo, who never transcended the sport in some way, having that kind of melodramatic fight with Corrales is something he will be reminded of for the rest of his life.
Estoy orgulloso porque yo siempre me han comparado que fui el sparring de Julio Chávez. Yo quería escribir mi propia historia y bueno, con ese tipo de pelea creo que la estoy escribiendo.
Tijuana, Mexico, just over the Mexican-American border. Castillo now trains for Ricky Hatton, but he'll always be remembered for the fight he lost to Diego Corrales, an opponent now once again on his mind.
Parece que fue ayer, todavía la recuerdo.
New tonight, a professional boxer is killed in a motorcycle accident on Fort Apache in Hacienda. The victim is lightweight Diego Corrales.
Me quedé sorprendido, no en shock, pero sí me quedé muy sorprendido. Estaba viendo la tele en ESPN y me quedé impactada.
When I heard of it, I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe, that he was gone.
Longtime boxing referee and minister Richard Steele conducted the memorial service as the boxing world turned out to bury one of its own.
Castillo's body goes limp, and the referee steps in, and I was just, oh my God. And Gladys, my wife, she said, Richard, you referee. His spirit was all through me. I could not help myself that night.
Corrales and Castillo gave me an opportunity to be a part of history. And to be there at his funeral meant a lot to me, just to see him one more time.
Corrales' untimely death came on the 2-year anniversary of his most dramatic win. 2 weeks ago, toxicology tests revealed Corrales was driving drunk. His blood alcohol content 3 times the legal limit in Nevada.
Sí, pues una tristeza que un boxeador grande que le dio muchas satisfacciones a la gente que creía en él haya muerto lamentablemente así, ¿no? Es una lástima, una pérdida muy grande.
He died the way he lived, knowing all the time that he always take chances, knowing that one day something's gonna happen to him. You might be thinking that, but when that time comes, it hurts.
While the 29-year-old Corrales is finally at peace, Castillo fights on, his legacy tied forever to the man they call Chico, a man he'll never forget.
Es difícil de creer que no está con nosotros. Es como un pedazo de la historia de Castillo que se murió.
Diego Chico Corrales' motorcycle accident here in the residential streets of Las Vegas took place on the evening of Monday, May 7, about 48 hours after Oscar De La Hoya and Floyd Mayweather met in the ring. Just 5 weeks prior to that, Castillo had witnessed the sudden death of his 2 years younger brother, Cesar, due to a brain aneurysm, something that came and seized Cesar and took him away like a thief in the night. Cesar Castillo, among the 8 brothers and sisters Castillo had in this world, was the one who used to carry his championship belts into the ring when Castillo would fight, and the fighter has dedicated his efforts tonight to his deceased little brother. And Emmanuel Stewart, there's great poignancy in the almost loving comments that Castillo offers on behalf of Diego Corrales in that piece, because as he enters the ring tonight, the Corrales family estate, which is suing Castillo for his failure to make weight in fights number 2 and 3 against Diego Corrales, is attempting to attach his purse and prevent him from collecting the money that he would earn for tonight's fight. This is the latest in a series of financial cataclysms which have befallen Castillo ever since that second Corrales fight and we failed to make weight. He was fined $250,000 by the commission. He lost his purse for the third fight. He's been really fighting to try to get over this financial mountain ever since. How much does that weigh on a fighter's mind and affect his preparation?
In addition to that, throwing the fact that being suspended for a year, in addition to fine $250,000, he couldn't even fight to pay it off, and he actually had to borrow money from the promoter, Bob Arum. So the money from his last fight and this fight, for the most part, is gone. And it's a big factor. I think it's going to be a big motivating factor because not only is he desperate to become really respected by the Mexican fans, because contrary to many, I don't see him going down as a great fighter in the realm of Barrera and the other fighters
and
like
Morales,
Chavez and Morales.
and Marquez and
his
his contemporaries.
biggest fights that he's fought, still he's came up short. He had 2 fights with Mayweather. Many people thought he won the first one, but still officially he lost. And his most memorable fight with Diego Corrales was the first one. So he still hasn't done nothing that made him a great fighter. So I think he's really fighting to get the accolades of the Mexican people and for money. He's virtually what we would say a broke fighter.
Max Kellerman has a slightly different point of view on Castillo's career, and we'll get to that in a moment. Right now, let's turn our attention to the tail of the tape for Ricky Hatton and Jose Luis Castillo. And here you'll see the 5-year age advantage for Hatton, on which many base his favorite role in the fight. But there's a 2-inch height advantage for Castillo, and surprisingly, a 4-inch arm length advantage for Jose Luis Castillo when measured from the armpit to the end of the fist. They both weighed in at 140. Neither had seemingly any big problem making weight. Castillo has rehydrated all the way up to 153 overnight. Hatton enters the ring at 149. Rules of the bout with our unofficial ringside scorer, Harold Letterman.
The Ricky Hatton Jose Luis Castillo fight is scheduled for 12 rounds using the unified rules of the Association of Boxing Commissions. There is no 3-knockdown rule. Only the referee can stop the fight. In case it was caused by an accidental headbutt, we go to the scorecards after 4 rounds have been completed, and you cannot be saved by the bell in any round, including the 12th and final round. Jim!
Max Kellerman, you heard what Emmanuel Stewart said in evaluating Jose Luis Castillo's career and how he stacks up against Mexican contemporaries like Barrera and Morales and Marquez. What's your take?
I think Castillo is a throwback in terms of his development as a fighter. By the time he burst into the boxing consciousness with his upset win over Stevie Johnston, he'd lost several fights and learned from those losses. I think he was a truly great lightweight champion, and let me add my name to the list of people who say his fight against Diego Corrales, the greatest fight I've ever seen.
And incidentally, when we asked Castillo about that and whether he thought his fight with Corrales was the greatest he had ever been involved in, he said, no, it's not the #1 fight of my career. That was against Julio Alvarez in 1998.
This one goes to 11.
Where do you get that tape? Where is that DVD? Because that you've got to see.
How do you get better than the greatest fight ever?
He's a high-contact fighter, the kind who quite often have short careers. It's been an extraordinarily long career for Jose Luis Castillo, and now, toward the tail end, it seems, he is fighting to get out of debt. That could either be a back-breaking obstruction or a giant benefit-giving incentive. Now it's taken a little extra time for Ricky Hatton to get his hands wrapped. And now as the arena is darkened, we prepare for a Hatton entrance, which will begin with 45 seconds of Winston Churchill. ballad Blue Moon, theme song of the second of Manchester's 2 professional soccer franchises. Like Floyd Mayweather, Max, he enters wearing a sombrero.
We are in Vegas, right? Are we? I mean, this is unbelievable.
With all the trappings, he's become one of the premier showmen into the sport. And incidentally, just to justify and legitimize the sombrero, walking into the ring behind Hatton, now a member of his entourage, the aforementioned Marco Antonio Barrera. Let's go to ring announcer Michael Buffer for the official introductions.
Ladies and gentlemen, from Thomas and Mack Center, Las Vegas, Nevada, USA. Good evening and welcome to the main event presented by Arthur Palullo's Banner Promotions and Dennis Hobson's Fight Academy, along with Caesar's Palace and Wynn Las Vegas, sponsored by Nemiroff and brought to you in association with Top Rank Incorporated. This contest is 12 rounds of boxing for the IBO Light Welterweight Championship of the World. Sanctioned by the Nevada State Athletic Commission Chairman Dr. Tony Alamo, Executive Director Keith Kaiser, IBO President Ed Levine. At ringside, the 3 judges scoring this bout on the 10-point system will be Adelaide Bird, Dwayne Ford, and Clark Sammartino. And inside the ring, working for the 162nd time in a world title bout, referee Joe Cortez. And now, ladies and gentlemen, for the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world, let's get ready to rumble! Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing black with gold, official weight 140 pounds. His professional record, 55 victories, including 47 knockouts, with 7 defeats and 1 draw. Damas y caballeros de Mexicali, Mexico, the challenger, the former 2-time lightweight champion of the world, Jose Luis El Temible Castillo. And across the ring, fighting out of the red corner, wearing blue with silver and black, official weight also 140 pounds. A perfect professional record consisting of 42 bouts, 42 victories, including 30 knockouts. From Manchester, England, the former undisputed light welterweight world champion, the former WBA welterweight champion, and the reigning defending undefeated IBO light welterweight champion of the world, Ricky Hitman Hatton.
All right, gentlemen, we went over the rules in the dressing room. Ya vi la regla del camerino. I expect a good, clean fight. Quiero una pelea limpia. Obey my commands at all time. Punches here are good. This is good. Punches here, this is a little high. The punches here are good. Give me a good, clean fight. Remember, guys, I'm fair, but I'm firm.